Hi, this is Jenny, and this is a tutorial on how to merge addresses from the Theta OP into Mailchimp in order to send an email campaign or a newsletter campaign. We will first start in the Theta OP, so go to the Kappa Alpha Theta website, log in, and you'll know you're logged in because it'll say your name here. And then assuming that you have officer access to the OP, then you'll see this menu over here on the left. So we're going to go left click on Officer Portal. And then we have the main page, always with a calendar here that we don't use this calendar. We're going to go down then to alumni members on the left-hand panel and go ahead and click on that. Okay, and so then we have the list here of all of the members. Well, not all the members. It should say 1,130 alumni. These are not all paid members of our chapter, but it's everybody that lives in Fairfield County. So before we go to download this list into an Excel spreadsheet, we just want to make sure that we're filtering it correctly. So standing, we're going to keep at blank so that we have all of the alumni regardless of whether they've paid or not. All of the rest of the fields should be blank except address status should be set to deliverable. Non-deliverable would be people for whom we received returned mail, so it's likely that they've moved out of the county, so we don't want to be contacting them, so we want to stay on deliverable. And then we want to double check OK to contact is set to yes. When we receive a request, an unsubscribe to an email or a campaign, we set OK to contact to no, and then we don't email them anymore. So we just want to make sure that we are set to yes on OK to contact. Address status is deliverable. That's their street address is deliverable. And then standing is everything else is set to no values. So we're going to go ahead, we didn't make any changes, but if you had selected anything differently, you would click on find. And so here is the list. There are 1,130 alumni found. Not all have email addresses, but we're going to go ahead and just download the whole list to an Excel file. So we do that by just clicking here on download these results to Excel. And as you can see, it is downloading right now. And so I'm interested in this Excel file, but the way I do it, the way I find it easier is to convert this to a Google Sheets, which I find to be easier to read. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So I have opened up Google Sheets in my Google Drive account, and I'm going to go ahead and start a new spreadsheet. So I'll click here on Start a Blank Spreadsheet. Okay, and then this is where I'm going to upload my data from what I just downloaded to the from the OP. So I'm going to go into File and come down to Import and click on that. Okay, so now I just need to find this file on my computer. So what I usually do is I would just come in to look at recent files, and here's a recent file. alums 26. I do a lot of downloading, so every time I download it just gives it a higher number. So this is alums 26 is the newest file that I just downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I'm going to insert, let's see, replace the spreadsheet. All the data, there's no data in my spreadsheet, so I'm just going to replace spreadsheet and then select import. And this is my spreadsheet. So just because I do a lot of importing of spreadsheets, just to make sure that I have current information, I'm going to give this a very specific title, and it's only so that I can find it later or delete it later when I replace it with something else. So I'm going to call this all alums and give it today's date. And that should be good. Okay. Okay, now we're not going to be using all of these columns. In fact, we're only going to be using a few, and it's going to make the process easier when we get into Mailchimp if we delete the columns that we're not going to be using. So I'm going to go ahead and start deleting columns, and after you've done this a few times, it'll be second nature. But so if you just right click up here in the top of each column, you'll get a little menu and you can say delete column. So I'm going to be actually deleting all of the columns up until complete name. I don't know if I can do this as a batch. I guess I can. I'm holding down the shift key. I'm left clicking on the column, the top of each column. Everything's highlighted. I'm going to now right click and delete columns A through G. Okay. Okay, so we do use complete name. We don't use suffix, so we will delete that. We definitely need to have the email address. We don't need email status code. We don't need birth date. We don't need last modified. So we'll go ahead and right click and delete these columns. We do list in our email campaign, just so that people can give us corrections. We list home phone, cell phone. We do not need address status. We do not need address type. Okay, so then we do want address, street address. Second address would be maybe an apartment or a suite. And then city, state, and zip. We don't need country. We don't need address last modified. We don't need spouse information. So we will go ahead and delete those. Okay. Oops. Okay. We do keep initiated school and chapter. We don't need chapter code. We don't need preferred school. We don't need preferred chapter. Preferred school and chapter would be if they transferred out of another school and affiliated with another college chapter, but for our purposes, we don't need that. So we will go ahead again and right click and delete those columns. We do want initiation year. We don't need grad type, membership level, membership type. It'll always be alum for everybody, so we're going to just delete those columns. Okay, we are interested in life loyal, no or yes. current dues chapter. We don't need paid through date, so we will go ahead and delete that. And alumni dues level, and we can delete areas of interest. Okay, so these are the columns that we use to, that we put into each person's email or newsletter campaign so that they know that they're the correct person getting it, and that we can verify. They can let us know if any of their contact information needs to be updated, and also they can know what their current status is as far as Life Loyal, as far as current dues chapter, and their dues level. Okay, and then the next thing I do is I want to freeze this first row, because if I'm going to do any sorting, which I will be doing, I don't want this sorted in with the addresses and names. So I come up here to View, and I want to click on Freeze, and I want to freeze one row, and it'll freeze the top row so that that won't be sorted. Okay, so we do need to update something on this list, and it has to do with what I consider to be a glitch on the officer portal. If we go ahead over here and sort by dues, current dues chapter, we'll go C to A, we can see that these are the people that have paid dues in the current year. And so these are the chapters that they paid dues to. We have some courtesy members on our email list who pay to a different chapter, but they want to receive our emails, so that's fine. They're on here, but we're interested mostly in these Fairfield County dues paid members, and we see over here what dues level they paid at. So it's going to be 1, 2, or 3 for Fairfield County. Everybody's got a dues level in here. The thing that is not working too well for us is that people who have not paid this year, or may have paid in a past year, or may never have paid at all in our chapter, they are listed as dues level 1, as if they had paid at our black and gold level, and that is incorrect. Those should all be set to 0. And the reason that it matters to us right now is that when we merge this into the newsletter, we want to tell people what dues level we know that they have paid for this year. And it is really confusing when it says that they've paid at dues level 1 and they have not. So what we want to do is to correct that, and how we're going to do that is just to change the values of everyone who is blank in the current dues chapter should be also blank on alumni dues level. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight, starting here with this person who does not have an alumni chapter currently paid, and I'm going to go all the way down to the end, highlight all of those values, come over to Edit, and I'm going to delete values. So now our spreadsheet is correct in that if they haven't paid to our chapter or another chapter, they should have dues level equal to blank. Okay, so I'm at the end of my recording time for this segment, and I'm going to jump over to Mailchimp in the part 2. So if you will go back to the YouTube channel, look for part 2 of this video, we will continue with this spreadsheet that has automatically been saved, and we will work with within Mailchimp to merge this information in.